Thank you. I want to thank you all for appearing here today, and especially to our teachers on the panel. You do the essential work of educating our children, oftentimes doing whatever it takes to ensure that your students have access to the information and materials that they need to learn. But we know that comes at a cost, and we need to make more investments in you, our nation's educators. Wisconsin is facing what our state superintendent of public instruction, Dr. Jill Underly, has referred to as an education workforce in crisis. The Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction recently released their annual report on educator preparation and workforce in our state. This year's report found that we have shortcomings, including with teacher retention. 4 out of every 10 teachers either leave the profession or leave the state in their first 6 years. This shortage of teachers is especially pronounced when it comes to special education teachers. 74% of the schools in Wisconsin state that they have 1 or more vacancies for a special education educator, and more than a third of those schools were not able to find a teacher to fill that vacancy. Dr. Curran, I want to thank you for your testimony. Educators are the key in-school factor for student success, and I appreciate your testimony's focus on the need to support and pay them accordingly. I want to focus on the 4th pillar of Maryland's plan related to investments in students from low-income families and multilingual learners and students with disabilities. Last year, the House Education Appropriations Bill crafted by the House Republicans would have cut federal education investment by 80% for Title I-A. That's a program that's intended to provide extra support to schools serving low-income students. It also proposed eliminating the $890 million Title III program that supports multilingual learners. And it proposed cutting $2 billion for the Supporting Effective Instruction State Grant Program. This year, their planned cuts to non-defense spending looks likely to produce a bill that does much of the same that I just described them drafting last year. So does this sound like the approach of the high-performing systems that the commission reviewed? And what would be the ramifications? And can you say something about the government buy-in in those other countries, Finland, Singapore, in Canada, for their high-performing systems?
Yes, thank you, Senator Baldwin, for that question. As you noted, one of the principles that we discovered in these high-performing systems is the investment they make in students with the greatest need, and including most especially students coming from low-income families. And so that's why the blueprint has really focused on what we call community schools. A community school in Maryland is one that is serving 55% or more low-income students. And these schools get significantly extra funding for tutors, for after-school academic programming, for summer academic program. They have extra health services in the school. They have a coordinator who can connect children in those schools with the social services in the region. And so it's our recognition that we need to concentrate resources on these kids that are growing up in very difficult circumstances. And so any kind of reduction in Title I funding would just, in my mind, exacerbate the problems we're facing.
Thank you. Mr. Keyes, as communities grapple with the shortage of teachers, more schools are establishing so-called grow your own programs. These programs are often focused on either introducing and encouraging high school students to pursue the field of education, or providing programs focused on helping individuals already in the profession such as para-educators and substitute teachers gaining teachers' licenses. You have a remarkable story on how you came to the education profession, starting as a school bus attendant. I understand you worked as a paid teacher resident while earning your teaching credential and master's degree in special education. Can you explain the paraprofessional to teacher program you participated in and the benefits of these grow your own programs and how the federal government can better support these programs?
Okay, the paraprofessional to teacher program that I was a part of, it's called Parapathways. Pretty much what it does is open up the pathway to teaching to the paraprofessional staff, many of whom, like myself, have been working in that paraprofessional position for years. I was a paraprofessional for 16 years, and what it does is it looks at the paraprofessionals based on their level of schooling. If you got some credits, college credits, you start off on this one. If you got a bachelor's, you start here. If you got an associate's, you start here. I went through the residency program because I had my bachelor's, and what that did was that put me in a position to work under a mentor teacher for a whole school year, meaning I didn't have to do any student teaching. I didn't have to have a period of time where I was without pay. And to me, the benefit of that was I got to learn the ins and outs of the paperwork side of it, because when you're working in education and when you work with children every day, regardless of if you're certified or not, you know how to teach. You know how to be there for your students on every level, from bus attendant to paraprofessional. You work with these kids every day, you know what you're doing. What that Pathways program does is gives an insight on what it takes to deliver the curriculum, what it takes to be effective at the way that you deliver the curriculum, what it takes to understanding for me, the special education laws and the ins and outs of what it is to be a special educator. It also gives you a kind of inside look on some of the different challenges that you're going to face when going into the classroom. Now, with that Pathways program, some of the people who were in the residency portion didn't go through that Pathways program. There were people coming from corporate America, coming from the military, because that residency program is open to anyone that wants to be a teacher. And what I realized, and what my school, Temple University, realized, that a lot of the people coming from outside of education, they don't have a clue what it's like in the classroom. And some of them didn't even make it through the program, and some of them made it through the program, but once they got in the classroom on their own, they didn't make it. We have some who quit less than a year in. So I think, for me, the Grow Your Own type of program, you have people who have been doing the job. You have people who want to do the job. The only thing that's holding them back is the financial part. I know myself, what held me back years from going back to school was the financial aspect of it, was going into debt. Like I said, as a classroom assistant, $16,000 is what you start with, $30,000 is what you end with. Me looking at that and everything else that I have to do, rent, food, taking care of myself, paying for school, was like, can't do that. But with this program, it makes it accessible. It makes it something that can happen. I mean, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. We got 100 people who have gone through this program as of fall, and more are interested every day because they see the need for high quality teachers, and they see that it's time for them to step up to the plate and be that high quality teacher. And also, another aspect of the program that hopefully will start to come to fruition is to start recruiting in high school, recruiting some of the people who are in high school that may be interested in education, having them start as paraprofessionals, just so that they know what it's like to be in the classroom environment. They know what it's like to teach.
Mr. Keyes, if I could ask you to summarize, you're well over time.
Oh, my bad. That's my thing. That's my thing, and I love this program. I had a lot to do.
I let you because I'm
But
really
that's the
interested
answer.
in this.
That's the answer.
Thank you, and thanks to all the